Hello and welcome to the VMC Consultants, Inc. virtual booth at the PASBO Annual Conference. We look forward to hearing from you via the virtual tools available on this site. VMC Consultants, Inc. is a private company with a long history of dedication to the public sector. Dr. Charles J. Ganim, President and CEO, has personally led hundreds of projects with counties, cities, schools, and towns throughout the Northeast and the state of Florida. VMC uses a methodical approach to all its engagements, applying the disciplines of industrial engineering, operations research, and organizational communications. The big picture of education-related transportation is impressive. It's more than twice the size of all other forms of mass transit. VMC specializes in serving populations and persons with unique transportation requirements. The team at VMC is particularly dedicated to improving transportation for preschool and school-age children with special needs, as well as other sensitive populations. VMC's goal is to make the job of the stakeholders easier and transparent to all involved. The need for serving sensitive populations is growing, with 14% of all public school students qualifying under the Disabilities Education Act. This places a large responsibility on stakeholders. VMC is tuned in to the challenges that come with transporting these populations and balancing the fiscal responsibilities of this workload. Uncontrolled price increases, implicit costs of transportation, and interactions with the providers and the end users are further complicated by exposure to liabilities. Niche markets require very specific management expertise. The particular challenge of this sector is compliance with the mandatory maximum numbers of children that can be transported together. As such, supply and demand are often out of balance, and vendors can take advantage of this situation. VMC provides a support system that carefully watches costs by maximizing utilization of vehicles and applying market-making tactics to ensure enough competitors enter the bidding process. There are many factors that influence the cost of transportation. VMC provides a close look behind the scenes to demystify costs by monitoring and reporting vehicle utilization and days of service. These additional administrative duties are an essential part of the transportation management package. Customer relations and central point of contact services provide an arm's length relationship and objective resource that helps the municipality manage delicate challenges with transporters and users of this transportation, particularly parents who are often extremely involved in the process. In an already complex sector, the COVID-19 pandemic has put student transport in the spotlight. The laws and restrictions governing sensitive populations require deep administrative oversight. VMC protects the client through these rigorous procedures. Since the pandemic, this task is now the most time-consuming performed by VMC. It is also the most difficult. It involves reconciling the transporter's invoices and being sure the reconciliation is accurate and in the form necessary to maximize state and federal aid. School district and local governments are now faced with an enormous administrative task that requires added staff or is just not getting done. VMC has deep roots in the public sector. In fact, it has a success rate that exceeds more than 98% in the implementation of over 1,000 projects performed in its 50-plus year history, working with municipalities and schools. Now we will share a few use cases demonstrating how this is achieved. Imagine this scenario. It was less than 2 weeks before the fall school session started, and the counties learned that the principal transporter had a significant shortage of qualified drivers to transport the children with special needs. Obtaining drivers and then qualifying these drivers for transporting this delicate population would normally take about 3 months. Each county had its own contract with this transporter. To solve this problem, it was necessary to consolidate the transportation bus routing so that the buses carried children from both counties on the same bus. This resulted in significantly less buses and therefore a need for less drivers. The effort by VMC included merging of data, computerized routing, creating effective compliance guidelines, and explaining to the parents the reason and safeguards that were put in place. The results were a cost reduction of 1/3 while meeting this urgent need. In this case, the county experienced a severe shortage of transporters. Price for transportation was increasing at a rate that would exceed the budget. VMC created a competitive and efficient environment by establishing partnering agreements for the county with the local resource center, public transit, and a private transporter. VMC also controlled the assignment of passengers to a particular form of transportation and routed the passengers into the periods of time when the vehicles had empty seats, while avoiding non-compatible passengers on the same vehicle. Transportation costs were reduced by about 35%. In this case, 8 school districts required transportation for special needs children and private school children across district lines. An integrated routing system was established to provide an efficient vehicle routing model. Projected savings were between 25% and 30%. This case was based on determining if the transportation and/or the building and grounds departments should remain in the hands of the district employees or be delegated to an outside company. VMC's approach is to compare a potentially streamlined internal function with an outside company. After the study, suggestions were made to the collective bargaining units as to the changes that would make the internal operation more efficient and therefore less costly. Based on the efficiencies shown in the simulated internal cost, the transportation remained internal, incorporating the new methods. In this brief overview, our key message is this: VMC is 100% focused on this critical sector of mobility management. We care most about making your special needs transportation programs run effectively and efficiently. We have the experience, dedication, and commitment to assist you. So let's have a conversation about the state of mobility management in your system.